I'm Kai Plaskon. I'm the author of Silent Heroes of the Cold War, and I'm up here at the top of Mount Charleston on July 30th, 2016. And it was a really incredible experience to see the crash site. And I'm going to take you to the crash site and show you exactly what I saw. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a headache. The altitude is high here. It's not too cold, but it is very windy, as you can hear probably. But this is the very top of Mount Charleston. There's flags here. And the crash happened just to the south around that bend down there. So you go around that bend, and that's where we're going to go. And we're going to go check it out. We're going to go down a pretty perilous little ravine to take a look at all of the remnants of the crash that we can. All right, let's go.
Before we get to the actual crash site, I want to talk about the journey to get there. The trail starts out really nice. Make sure that you bring a friend with you. I brought Dr. Baya Lasky with me. You have some spectacular views along the way, including one spot where you can see the actual location where the crash happened and where most of the debris is. You'll pass through forests that are recovering from wildfire. You'll pass waterfalls and a spot to get a drink of water. Make sure you have fun.
Very horse-like. It's a log trough.
You'll also see some fossils along the way. Other areas that are still recovering from wildfire, and lots of desert flowers along the way. Don't pick them. This is how they reproduce. And if you're lucky, you'll see some wildlife. The trail changes quickly and the terrain gets very steep and barren. Nothing is growing above 10,000 feet, and it gets very busy. And just when you think you're at the top, there's more climbing to do. Take it slow. Look out for thunderstorms. When you do reach the top, you're going to want to take a rest because it's a little ways further to get to the crash site. You can sign the register at the top. Here's some old pictures from what the crash looked like right after it happened. These were taken by the military. And then a group went up shortly thereafter and blew up the site and made sure that there was really nothing there that could be detected. They had fun too. This is what it looked like just before they blew it up. And now it doesn't really look like there's a whole lot there, but there really is when you take a closer look. This artifact, for instance, it's got a plaque on it, and the description indicates that it was part of the IFF system, a classified piece of equipment that was required in order to fly into Area 51. Now that we've established that there's very valuable information at this site, let's take a closer look.
For those of you who have not been able to hike up to the top of Mount Charleston or hike up the Spring Mountains to the crash site at Mount Charleston, but have maybe read the book, this is a little of what it looks like. This is the biggest piece of the wreckage that's left on the mountain. We're going to look down there just a little bit farther and see if we can see the fuselage, but fuselage is nowhere to be seen here. So now I'm just about as far down as you can go on the crash site before you start getting into really steep and somewhat dangerous terrain. But there's debris all the way down this gully here. So there's some wing and fuselage here. You can even see what looks like a window for the fuselage here. That appears to be a window. Some really neat parts. This is part of the motor right here. You can see in this area here that heat damage, from melting and how hot it got when the crash happened. What was that for? A gear or something, And then here's that bell that I was talking about. You gotta wonder what would the bell tell you if you were on this plane back in 1955? It really sparks the imagination coming here and looking at this. This is Maybe more of the fuselage here. This looks like the kind of the nose of one of the motors. Isn't that amazing? This stuff is incredibly heavy. Oh, look at that. Here's something else pretty interesting. It's what looks like the bottom of a fuel tank or something. It says Thompson Products Incorporated. It looks like it had been cut apart or something. And it's got a screen on it. A part that I imagine was attached to the engines, but I don't really know. And what's interesting about it is it's got numbers on it that have been covered up. So there's these 5 and a bunch of zeros. There's 507 something that was kind of punched over. This one over here says 9702, which could have been a previous aircraft in a different aircraft. And then here's another number that was kind of covered up and punched over. So you got to wonder whether some of these parts were taken off of other planes and put on this one at some point. So here's the propeller. So, or one of them. You can see where it broke off here, which is just shows tremendous force to tear that off. This could have been the first propeller to hit the ground as they were coming in. You know, the back part of the propeller was removed here, and the propellers are kind of loose in there, but the rest of the motor's gone or removed. And just a second ago I was wondering what happened to that back part. Well, it's right here, buried underneath all this rock, and you know, a lot of this stuff is buried under rock, but you can still, you know, just pick up things and like, what is that, you know? There's nothing like looking at the destruction of a plane to get a good sense of how many moving parts and pieces it takes to get a bunch of people way up into the air, and that it all needs to work flawlessly and work really, really well. And it's amazing that plane made it up this far and almost made it to the top. That close. Here you can see the inside of one of the pistons, which is completely broken apart. I think some of this is probably the most fascinating, where there's electronics, you know, of the time. And there's not a lot of this left. This one I like the most, which is microphone and filter, which they would have been using to try and communicate as they flew up through this valley in a storm, trying to communicate that they were in trouble and needed help. These are, I assume, volume. Clearly the wires were cut, so it was attached to something, and all the wires were cut so that this piece here, that piece, whatever was there, could be removed. You gotta wonder what was there that was important to take back. Like I said, everywhere you look you find something kind of new and different and neat. The blinker oxygen flow indicator. This is something that I found right next to this piece here, which, you know, it's got something strange on the other side. It almost looks like it was part of an electric motor, or who knows, maybe a radio. I don't know. Those look like little magnets. And then over here on the other side, though, is what appears to be probably one of the only pieces of wood maybe in this plane. They actually used wood in the plane back then still. And you can see what looked like maybe they had gauges here. I'm not sure. I think you'd be fascinated coming here to check it out. It's not very safe, and it's extremely rugged climbing up here. You have to have a lot of experience, I would say, in scrambling on rock to really do it safely. Again, I suggest leaving it here. Don't damage it or destroy it. Respect it and the families and the people who died here. This is the second time I've been to the site. All I saw was one little pile of wires at the very top when I came through the first time. And that was before I wrote the book. And so, it's fascinating to come here after I've written it and really think about it a lot more. And I'm much more interested in exploring all of this too. And I kind of wonder whether you are too. Are you interested in exploring this site now that you've read the book? Let me know. Thanks. Kai Plaskon signing out. I gotta go back. There's the thunderstorms. You could probably hear them. And I gotta go all the way back down over there. It's really far. There's Raven up here. We're at 10,000 feet. Isn't that amazing? Jeez. All right, exploring's got to end some point, huh? Bye. Thanks for watching.